You ever get that feeling? That chill crawling down your spine? Not fear, no deeper than that. Like the universe just whispered your name with a crooked grin. And for once, it wasn't about you. See, people think everything that happens, every storm, every delay, every fall, it's punishment, karma, bad luck. But funny, isn't it? How you think she's just sitting there scrolling, yawning, living in her own little world. Meanwhile, she's absorbing everything. Every sigh, every slammed door, every look you give the mirror when you think no one's paying attention. She's not just watching you, she's studying you. And not like a spectator at a show. No, like an apprentice. Like someone building a manual for survival based on how you navigate your chaos. You think the weight you carry is yours alone? Nah. She feels it too, but smaller, softer, quieter. The way she flinches when your voice sharpens. The way her eyes dim when yours do. That's not coincidence. That's inheritance being written in real time. You ever seen a child pretend? Not playing house. I mean really pretend. They mimic the little things, the tone, the hesitation, the way you doubt yourself. She copies that. The way you second guess every decision, every outfit, every dream. That becomes her instinct. And then one day, she doesn't know where her fears end and yours begin. Because no one told her she could choose differently. She just assumed your way was the way. And why wouldn't she? You're the sun in her sky, the proof that reality exists. If you crumble, the whole world bends out of shape. You think she doesn't notice when you bite your tongue to keep the peace. She does. Thinks that's strength. Thinks that's what love looks like. That swallowing your truth is noble. That silence equals survival. And then she grows up and repeats the cycle. Smiling when she's breaking. Laughing when she wants to scream. All because you taught her without a word that this is how we live. That pain is just part of the costume. That pretending is safer than being seen. And here's the twist. She loves you too much to question it. So she'll follow you, right into the same self-doubt, same smallness, same need for approval. She'll wear the chains you never took off and call them style. That's how generational wounds work. Quiet, casual, dressed in love and loyalty. They pass down not through speeches, but through behaviors, through moods, through the things we never meant to say out loud but scream with our choices. But maybe you think, I'm doing my best, and you are. But best doesn't always mean right, and love, real love, sometimes means breaking your own pattern so she doesn't have to. It means doing the hard thing, not just the familiar thing. It means realizing she's building herself out of your broken pieces, hoping they'll fit, but they don't. And one day, when she tries to stand on what you stood on, it'll collapse under her too. She doesn't need a perfect you. She needs a real you. A you who's honest about the mess. A you who tries not to impress the world, but to free the next generation from the cage you were handed. She needs to see what it looks like when someone chooses truth over comfort. When someone decides, it ends with me. Not for applause, not for credit, but because her eyes are watching, her heart is shaping, and her future is quietly depending on the choices you think don't matter. You're not just living your life. You're setting the standard. You're defining normal. And one day when she tells her story, you'll be the main character whether you like it or not. Not because you asked to be, but because you already are. So when you fold, she learns that folding is acceptable. When you fight, she sees that fire doesn't mean destruction. It means resistance. It means legacy. It means maybe the pain wasn't pointless after all. It starts so subtly, doesn't it? A missed meal, a fake smile, a sigh that's just a little too heavy. You think you're the only one feeling the weight, the only one dragging your soul across the floor every morning, but someone's watching. And she's not watching like a stranger, she's watching like a mirror in training. She sees you break and keeps the pieces for herself. She sees you get back up and starts sketching the blueprint in her mind, one bruise at a time. You think she doesn't notice? Oh, but she does. Not in the way grown-ups do, with judgment or words. She notices with her silence, with her wide eyes, with how she starts doing what you do without even knowing why. Every time you keep going when you don't want to, she stores that. Every time you cry behind a locked door and come out pretending, she logs it. She's not copying the survival, she's absorbing the strategy. You're laying bricks without meaning to, and one day she'll be walking the very road you didn't even know you were building. And here's the sick little joke of it all. You thought you were just making it through. You thought your scars were just yours. But they're maps now. They're turning into directions she'll one day follow when she's lost in the dark. And the really funny part, the things you thought were failures, they become her foundation. Not the perfect moments, not the wins. No one learns from perfection. She learns from the pain you didn't hide, from the crack in your voice when you told the truth, from the way you moved anyway. See, the struggles you thought made you less, they're the very things that give her more. Because if you got through that, then maybe she can too. If you survived the storm, then maybe the thunder isn't something to be afraid of after all. You're not just surviving for yourself anymore. That illusion shattered the moment she looked up to you. Whether you asked for it or not, you became the evidence. The proof that it's possible to get knocked down and still move forward. You think she's fragile, but she's built from your bones, your choices, your strength. So when you take one more step, even if it's shaky, even if it's ugly, she sees it. And something in her changes. Something in her says, so this is what strength looks like. This is what we do. But it's not all about the doing. It's about what you heal. Because what you confront now, what you refuse to pass on, becomes her freedom. She'll never have to carry the things you burned. She'll never have to fight the demons you chose to face. That's the hidden power. That's the real gift. Not the life you give her, but the weight you don't. Most people think legacy is about money or success or reputation. But real legacy, it's healing what tried to break you so it doesn't break her too. It's choosing to become the version of yourself you never had growing up, so she doesn't have to go looking for it in the arms of people who don't deserve her. It's showing her that being strong isn't about pretending you're not hurt. It's about not letting the hurt decide who you become. So when you wipe your tears and stand up again, even when everything in you screams to quit, you're not just finishing something, you're starting something in her. You're showing her the cost of resilience, the price of not giving in. You're teaching her that just because life gets ugly doesn't mean she has to match its face. And in doing that, you're turning your battle into her blessing. It's a strange thing. Pain. People carry it like it's a birthright. Pass it around like a family recipe. Here, take this anxiety, it's been in our blood for generations. Oh, and this fear, it belonged to Grandma. No one says it out loud, of course. They just live it, over and over again, in loops. You know the kind, the silent rules. Don't speak unless spoken to. Don't cry, it makes people uncomfortable. Don't dream too big, it'll only hurt more when it falls apart. And you swallowed all of it. Every quiet command, every limitation dressed up as protection. But now you're here. And whether you like it or not, what you choose to carry, she'll carry too. Unless you do the unthinkable, unless you drop it. You've got chains, but they're wrapped in memories, wrapped in survival. And when you try to let go, something whispers, if you let this go, who will you be? That's the joke, right? The pain became part of your personality. You think if you lose it, you lose you. But what if that was never you? What if it was just the echo of someone else's brokenness bouncing around your head for so long? It started to sound like truth. And now there's this girl watching you, breathing you in, building herself from your fragments, and you're still holding on to ghosts that were never yours to begin with. But if you let it go, really let it go, she won't even have to know its name. She won't have to unlearn the fear of taking up space or apologize for being loud or confuse love with approval. You think you're keeping the peace, but really you're just handing her a quieter version of the same war. She doesn't need a clean house or perfect answers or filtered smiles. She needs freedom. And freedom doesn't come from pretending everything's fine. It comes from watching someone decide to stop bleeding for other people's comfort. You think healing is soft. It's not. It's brutal. It's standing in the middle of your own mess, pointing to the wound and saying, this stops here. Not tomorrow, not when it's convenient, now. And when she sees that, when she sees you choose discomfort over legacy, she learns. Not by words, but by watching the war end in your eyes. You think she doesn't notice, but she does. She notices when your laugh sounds real. When your shoulders aren't so heavy, when you start choosing yourself without explanation. And slowly, without ever being told, she understands she can too. Most people run from their shadows. You're dancing with yours. Not because you enjoy it, but because you know if you don't, she'll have to. And that's the shift. That's where you stop reacting and start rewriting. The rules, the roles, the rhythm, it all changes when you decide the cycle dies with you. And make no mistake, it is a decision. One the world won't applaud you for. One that will cost you your comfort, your routine, maybe even your identity. But it buys her something you never had, a clean slate. You don't need to be a hero. You just need to stop being a vessel for the same pain that raised you. Let it end in your mouth, not in hers. Let it die in your silence, not in her story. Because one day she's going to face her own battles. And if she's not dragging your chains behind her, she just might win. Not because life got easier, but because you got braver. And your bravery became her birthright. Silence. It doesn't scream, doesn't cry, doesn't throw things across the room. It just sits, heavy, lurking in the corners like a quiet ghost. And people call it peace. They say, look how calm she is. When really that calm, that's the sound of someone who's learned not to speak because no one listened the first time. And she watches. She sees it. She thinks it's normal. Thinks this is just how people operate. You want to say, I'm doing it for her. But are you? Or are you just afraid of what would happen if you finally let it out? Afraid of the mess? Of being seen? Because once the truth is out, you can't tuck it back in. It stretches, it echoes. It changes the way people look at you. And maybe the scariest part is, it might change the way you look at yourself. That's the sound of someone who decided a long time ago that the world doesn't care about what hurts unless it's entertaining. So they just nod, smile, choke it all down. And you've done it too. Mastered the art of holding it in. Of keeping your voice neatly folded in your back pocket like a receipt you're afraid to lose. You were told not to make noise, told to be polite, quiet, agreeable. You were taught that speaking out meant starting a fight, that having needs made you a burden. And so you turned your fire down. You dimmed your light. You laughed when it wasn't funny, apologized when it wasn't your fault. All of it for survival. But she's watching. And what she sees is not strength. She sees permission to disappear, to shrink, to edit herself in every room until she fits into something small enough to never offend anyone. So now you're here, standing on a tightrope of silence, calling it grace. But you know better. You felt the scream clawing at your throat in the middle of the night. You've looked in the mirror and seen someone unrecognizable, someone who gave up her roar for the illusion of peace. But here's the twist. Your silence doesn't protect her. It teaches her. It teaches her that her voice is optional, that her truth is too loud, that her emotions are something to manage, not express. You want to protect her? Then speak, even if it trembles, even if it shatters the image they've built of you. Because what good is an image if it keeps you imprisoned? What good is appearing strong if it costs you your soul? She doesn't need a perfect example, she needs a real one. Someone who cries when it hurts. Someone who says no without guilt. Someone who stands up when the world expects them to sit down and shut up. Let her see you. Disrupt the silence. Let her watch you turn discomfort into power. Let her hear you say, I matter, and mean it. Because if you don't, she won't. She'll think love means silence, that comfort means compliance, that her truth is too heavy for anyone to carry. And then one day she'll bite her tongue just like you did, and it'll bleed just the same. You don't owe the world your silence. You don't owe your past a repeat performance. What you owe is honesty. Raw, uncomfortable, liberating honesty. The kind that breaks patterns. The kind that scares the weak and awakens the sleeping. And if that shakes a few rooms, good. Maybe they needed shaking. Maybe silence was the problem all along. Not the savior, not the solution, just a muzzle dressed up as maturity. And now you've got the key. The choice. The voice. Use it not just for you, but because she thinks silence is how strong women survive. Funny, isn't it? How people cheer the loudest for your victories, but vanish when you're bleeding. They love the highlight reel, the glow up, the comeback story. Just skip the part where you're on the floor gasping. Skip the nights you stared at the ceiling, wondering if you even mattered. Skip the way your hands shook when you had to pretend everything was fine. Because every time you choose to get back up, even when your legs are jelly and your heart's dragging behind you, she learns. Not from your wins, but from the climb. From the gritted teeth. From the bruises you don't hide. From the breath you take before facing the same chaos that tried to take you out yesterday. That's what teaches her. Not speeches. Not bedtime advice. Action. Raw, messy, ugly action. That's what builds her spine. That's what tells her she can fall apart and still be whole. Oh no, they don't want that. It's too real, too raw. Doesn't photograph well, but her. The one with your eyes, your laugh, your fire still forming. She needs the whole story. Not the polished version, not the Instagram filtered fiction. She needs to see what fighting really looks like. The world keeps trying to convince you that strength is loud, that it's about control, power, domination. But real strength is the quiet decision you make at 3 a.m. when no one's clapping for you. When everything hurts and you still get up, still love, still show up. That's the kind of strength she watches. That's the kind that shapes her bones before she even knows what she's made of. You think she's not paying attention, but she sees everything. The way your jaw clenches when you want to scream but choose not to. The way you cry in the bathroom and then fix your face before coming out like nothing happened. The way you almost gave up but didn't. That's her inheritance. Not money, not a legacy of perfection, but proof. Proof that it's possible to live with pain and not become it. To love with a shattered heart. To keep choosing life when it keeps choosing war. And every time you take that one more step, just one more, she absorbs it. It becomes a part of her wiring. A voice in the back of her head that whispers, "We keep going." Even when it sucks, even when no one's watching, even when everything in you says to crawl under the weight and stay there. You want to be soft for her. You want her to have peace, to be gentle. But softness without a spine is just silence. Peace without power is just surrender. She needs both. She needs to know that fire and grace can exist in the same body. That you can be kind and still say no. That you can hurt and still move forward. That you can be broken and still be enough. That's what your steps tell her. Not your words, your steps. Because she doesn't just need a mother, or a sister, or a protector. She needs a warrior. And not the Hollywood kind, the kind who doesn't have the option to lose because someone else's future is tied to her survival. So don't underestimate the way she watches you. Don't downplay the impact of your smallest choice. The outfit you wear when you feel like hiding. The meal you eat when your appetite is gone. The way you straighten your back when you want to fold. These aren't just survival moves. They're sermons. She's learning what it means to be a woman from your unspoken truths. Learning that falling isn't failure. That scars aren't shameful. That choosing yourself isn't selfish. That staying soft in a cruel world isn't weakness, it's war.